Hey everyone, Gabrielle Davis here with eXp Realty, and I am here to share with you what happened in November 2024 in Alden Bridge. So let me share my screen here. Okay, so in November, we had 11 new listings, 31 active, and 11 properties sold. So it's down significantly from really all the other months since, let's see, January. But if you look compared to November of last year, even though it's down, you can see December last year dropped. So we're really just seeing a drop due to the holidays, which is totally normal this year. I think just in 2024 compared to 2023, it came a little bit sooner. If we drop down here to the averages, the average list was $600 and almost $4,000. The average sold price was $572,000. The average price per square foot for a listing was $203,000 in November. And I always like to point out these are just averages. So if you look from month to month and you see them up and down, that doesn't necessarily mean that, track exactly to if housing prices are going up and down, because it's just an average. Homes in Alden Bridge range from low 300s all the way up to almost $2 million. So again, just an average. Now, if you saw any major significant drops or increases, then that would be an indication of the market really making a big move. The other things really to watch are, besides what we already went over for new listings and sold, is the close to list price ratio, which is 99.3. And that just means that sellers are getting 99.3% of their list price, which is really good. In November, surprisingly, the average days on market was only 14 days. That's very quick. That means the average of the houses went under contract in 14 days. And that is pretty low. So again, indicating still a seller's market. The months of inventory is 2.8. That's gone up a little bit. And that means if all our inventory sold out, it would take about 2.8 months if it continued in this progression, what we had in November. So I want to go over real quickly the Woodlands in its entirety. And this is just for single family homes. So the Woodlands in November had 110 new listings. It had 258 active and 87 sold. Now compared to last November, very similar. So the Woodlands on a whole isn't taking that holiday hit as soon as it appears that Alden Bridge has. The average list price, $929, and the average sold price, $965. Now they're only getting, on the average in all of Alden Bridge, 98.7% of list price, still very high. They have an average list price per square foot of $258, and the average days on market is 38, which is significantly higher than it was for Alden Bridge the same month. I would say that, obviously this is a lot more homes, but it does show that Alden Bridge is a desirable area. The months of inventory is 3.1 versus 2.8, so very, very close. If you ever have any questions about any of this data or want me to track something for you or send you monthly listings to track what's going on in your neighborhood, just feel free to reach out. I'm happy to do that for you. So now I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to do it this way because I'm not sure. So now I'm going to kind of go over what's happened with interest rates. I've kind of copied the graphs here for 30 years, 5 years, and the last year so that you can see this. This is a 30-year chart. These are all for 30-year fixed. I bought my first house right around here, right around 12 or 13%. So I look at this graph and I think that, high 7% is really not that bad. But you can see that, where we are right now, this is about, I think this high point here is probably 8%. So we're in the high 6s right now to 7. Now, if you look at a 5-year, you can see the drop for COVID and how we've gone up since then. But again, the high was 8%. We're barely touching 7%, so not as high as it was. Now, this is the last year. So when interest rates dropped this fall, they went back up. And again, we're sitting high 6s, 7%. So in September, the Feds met and they dropped, I think it was 50 basis points. So everybody, or the public, general public, thought that interest rates would go down from there. Well, I wanted to point out that when the Feds meet, the interest rates are already at a price factoring in what they think the Feds are going to do with the interest rates. So my interpretation, because after that Fed meeting in September, as you can see on the chart, the interest rates have gone up. So my interpretation of that is that the mortgage industry felt like the Fed was going to make larger drops than it did. And so when it didn't, then the interest rates went up again. So everybody right now is waiting for these rates to come down. The quote experts have been saying for probably a year that the interest rates are going to drop, and they have, but they're still at 6, we'll call it 6.5% right now. So this is just a lesson, I think, that you really shouldn't wait for interest rates to come down before you make a move, either sell or buy. I think more on the buy side, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, because what if rates don't come down? Then you're going to pay a higher interest rate. If rates do come down, there may be more competition, so you may be buying a house at a higher price than you really need to. And then if you buy now at the higher interest rate, or what is perceived to be the higher interest rate, if it does come down, then you just refinance. So my lender, Debbie, and I are working on some things kind of showing equity in a home and how it builds, and how over time renting versus buying a home, even with higher interest rates, is still a good idea. So I showed you that graph when I bought my first home at 12 or 13%. Well, let's see, that was in the 80s. So in 5 years ago, with buying and selling houses, I now have no mortgage. So it really is a good investment to buy a home. And we're working on that. We want to help, especially first-time home buyers, with this and educate them in this. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. As always, if you want to get these figures on a monthly basis, if you want me to send you listings in your little neighborhood so you can keep track of what's going on, I'm happy to do that. Just give me a call. And then the last thing I want to show you, let's see, is my new grandson. Isn't he cute? He was born in August and they are moving here in January, so I am so excited about that. I love him and I cannot wait till he gets here. His name is Hunter. That's his daddy. And yeah, so everybody, I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I hope that you have a wonderful holiday season and your new year is filled with amazing blessings. So make it a great day, and just remember to reach out if you have any questions at all. I'm here to help, and I'm your neighbor.